Hi there YouTube, welcome back to Vape Reviews with Az, and today what we are going to be talking about is this, the Coppervape Squape R clone. Now it's not a review as such today, it's basically going to be a few things, addressing a few issues. There's people having issues with getting a build on these, people thinking things are faults that are features, and the shorting issue. So one of the issues is that it leaks. Now this is the copper, as I say, it's Coppervape version, and people are having it leaking out the windows. And what it is when they've put the O-rings in the glass is either not fully over both O-rings, or the O-ring slips out the groove. So what you want to do for that is get yourself a rubber glove, and then you can get a grip on the glass and work around it, and it will eventually pull out. Then reseat your seals, lube them up with a bit of juice, and slide your glass back in, and when it goes all the way in, there is an audible click, and that should resolve the issues. To test it out, you can always fill the tank up with water and then see if it leaks. So that's the leaking issue. The other issue is that, I don't know if you can make that out, the negative post is too short and the positive post sticks up. Now people are seeing that there's people out there who think that the negative post is correct and the positive post is an error in while it's how it's been made, and that's incorrect. Both posts should actually be higher so that the screw never fastens down to the deck. And then you wrap your wire around under the screw, fasten it to the top of the post, and this is a feature on the authentic version. And what it's for, basically, from what I understand, is you're not, by screwing it down onto the negative how this is, you're then putting pressure on the deck, which then is making it slightly lopsided. So the whole feature is that it tightens the top of the post, not the deck, so that it doesn't make it wonky on the O-rings. So that's the other issue that people have been having. Another one is not being able to get the decks off as well. Now they can be quite stiff, but usually a wiggle will get them off. If you can't get it undone by just pulling, what you want to do is slacken off your positive post, and then it should come off nice and easily. So basically the main issue, this is an issue that I've personally had, rather than moan and send it back to where I got it from, I thought, well, I might as well fix the issue myself. Now originally I thought what was happening is the e-metal coating within the negative post hole wasn't there, so it was shorting out. And as it turns out, the problem isn't the post hole. Basically what happens is, just bear with me 1 second. When it's basically the disc itself shorting against the base, so when you screw your positive pin, it tightens that down to the base, and that's when it's shorting. Now I have managed to fix mine, so I'm going to try and show you that I do have a short. This is where it will not short out now, but I had a lot of issues with shorting. And it took a while actually. It took a good couple of days to work out what the issue was. I tried doubling up the O-rings. I put a K from the insulator in the 510 instead of the O-ring. Still was shorting. And the only way that it'd work is by having two O-rings and having that wound right out. So basically when you screwed it onto your mod, it was pushing the disc upwards and it weren't touching the internals of the base. So I'm going to try and show you the short. Which, as I said, it probably won't happen, which it's not. So as you can see, I now have a short. I'm getting a reading on the ohm reader. So the option that I came up with was I took a piece of just thin clear plastic, and it's not the tidiest, and I made a disc with the same holes basically as the e-metal disc on the inside. So all I did is I took this disc. I mean, it is just standard clear plastic, but the heat doesn't transfer it further down enough to actually cause an issue. And all I did was use it as a template, drilled all the holes out, and then pop it inside the deck. And then it will be secured down when you screw your negative post in there. So that's also an issue that people have been having. Basically, that when you receive any atomizer, personally, I think you should fully be fully stripping it down. I'm just going to take a quick vape. I think you should be fully stripping them down, giving everything a good wash. Especially with these, what happens is from where they're made, they basically all they've done is screwed it in finger tight and that's it. So, and then they've fastened the positive screws. So when people are then undoing the positive and negative, so when people are undoing them, it's bringing the post out with you. So all you want to do is screw it in finger tight, get a pair of pliers, give it a good grip, and just nip it up. And then also do the same on the disc. So as you can see, well, I hope you can see, I've now got my piece of plastic in the deck trapped under the negative post, and all I'm going to do is put my disc back on there and screw my 510 pin up nice and snug. And then we'll put it back on the ohm reader, and as you can see, there's no longer a short, so that's that issue fixed. So really, yeah, that's the issue. So the positive and negative post, there is quite a difference in size, and there really shouldn't be. They're supposed to be the same height. So what you can do is you can also basically make yourself some little plastic washers to put under the negative post, so that it allows you to space it up a bit. And the other thing you can also do is take the little black O-ring that came in the accessory pack, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to angle it down so that you can see what I'm doing. Sort of. So take a little black O-ring and we're going to take the positive post out again. Going to undo the negative post, and there you go, there's my little plastic insulator. So we'll pop that back in there, and as I say, because the heat doesn't really transfer down, it's not really an issue on making anything short. Now the only thing is with using the O-ring is you can't crank it down dead tight, so you have to be careful with your screws at the other end. But it's a little too wide, so I don't do it that way. Basically I leave it as it is, or just cut some extra plastic to space it up, or even a small washer. You can get away with using one of those. So as you can see, my insulator's there. Now the other thing is as well is, from what I believe, none of the decks off the original will fit this either. I'm sort of hoping the EX Pro ones are going to be a little bit better. And just to show you again, we're not getting a short. And then what I'm going to do now is we are going to do a very quick build. I'm going to put the W deck back on there, like so. Oh, and before you do that, you want to take some juice and just put it around your O-rings, just to make them easier to pull off. Just push it on there till it clicks firmly into place. And as you can see, the negative post is very shallow compared to the positive. Which I wish it wasn't, to be honest, but there's not a lot you can do about it other than spacing it up. So we're just going to put a quick build on here with 28 gauge camphor. So some 28 gauge camphor, and we want, I should have got all this stuff out really, but some tweezers, you want a screwdriver, and I'm going to be using a 2.5mm drill bit to wrap it round. And all I'm going to go for is I'm going to go for 7 wraps. Like so. Just put my post screws back in. Just make sure we're still not shorting. Yep. And all we're going to do then is turn it over so the legs are at the top. I'm going to sit it in there, and we're just going to wrap one full turn around the negative or positive, and then one full turn the opposite direction. And we're just going to quickly nip those up, and then you want to lift it out of the hole. You don't want it, if you've got it too far in the hole, you're going to get leaks. If you've got it too far up, you're going to get leaks. So what I try and do is basically do it so you've got half a coil diameter, so your diameter of your coil half again underneath it. That should be sufficient. Just give it a very quick nip up and wiggle off your leads. Probably have to cut that one, it's a little bit short. Just the 510, I've got it screwed too far in. I think my battery's flat on my home reader, so we'll put it on ZNA 50 instead. So that's reading 0.9, and we're going to turn it down. I'm just going to give it a few light pulses, and give it a squeeze. And take your drill bit, put your drill bit back in there. Obviously make sure you don't press the button while your drill bit's in there, because you will short it out. And then we're good to go. So it's now reading 1.2 ohms. And we're going to use some Japanese cotton wick. And always with Japanese cotton, you want to make sure that the lines of the cotton, you don't cut across, you want to stay with the lines. And we're just going to take sort of just over the diameter of the coil. That's probably too much. I'm just going to lightly start to roll it. All we're going to do is pull it through one side and then pull it on through. As you can see, it's not in there too thick. Now what I do is, first off, I split it in half, like so. And what I do is the top half that you've cut, I cut flush to the side of the deck, and then the bottom I leave a very slight overhang. So overhang at the bottom, flush with the deck on the top. So what I find, Japanese cotton does wick pretty fast, So what I do with it is I take the bottom half once it's wet and I push it in the channel on both sides. So I'm just going to take some juice. I'm just going to start to wet the cotton. As I say, the trailing ends, when they're wet, I push down into those channels, and then the top bit I leave just resting on the top to soak up any juice that may not have gone into the channel. And that's pretty much how I do it. It doesn't look the prettiest build, but because Japanese cotton wicks so fast, you do have to add that bit extra. It's firing away pretty good. So then all we're going to do, actually, I'm just going to trim that bit there. Just a little bit off of there. And I'll just shorten that ever so slightly at the bottom. Like so. And we should be pretty good to go. So then, when you fill your tank, you want to make sure your chimney is nice and tight, and just fill it down the side, as most people know with the Squape. You're just going to take it and screw it on top. I'm going to open up my air hole. That's it. So that's how you build the Squape. So that's how you build it, and I hope I've addressed some issues that people have been having. I've just kind of rambled on a bit rather than doing a full review. So I'm just going to have a little vape on it at 8 watts. And that's just a 50/50 PGVG liquid, and it's saying 1.3 ohms now. In fact, I'm going to change the battery while we're here because that's pretty much dead. So yeah, I mean, the atomizer is nice. It does take a little bit of getting used to, and there are the odd faults of it. I wish Coppervape had done a better job with the clone. But as always, you know, a better one will come along. There's the H Pros coming. There's one made by somebody else. I'm not sure the brand. I think A-Mod are doing one. So hopefully we are going to get a really, really good one. And the flavour is really good. So that's me for this video. I hope I helped some of you guys out. If you like the video, you know what to do. Thanks for watching then, guys.